Okay, welcome everyone.
Welcome, everyone. We will start in just a minute. Let's make sure everyone has dialed in so that we can talk about this exclusive and extremely important topic of today. As we are wrapping up the year, let's get to it. And I guess that's the perfect timing because the track is about to end. So let me just stop the share and welcome everyone. Great to have you. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Harun, and hi, everyone. It's great to have you. Welcome to yet another Cyber Monday session. Let me just turn off the music so that I can hear you better. How's it going, Matthew? How was your weekend? All good? Can you introduce yourself?
Sorry, I was just trying to quieten the background.
It's okay.
Doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Perfect, perfect. Mine was great as well. As you know, we celebrated kind of like a special day for me personally. It was my birthday. And it kind of really made me think about, days, weeks, months, years. They never stop. And many times when we take a look at career professionals, they always have those big ambitions. And I love that, right? In our Cyber Transform program as well, I always hear people, hey, I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to clear one more certification, one more training. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it this year. And then year ends, yet they're exactly at the same spot. It's very common. And even worse, unfortunately, they go down because if you're not going up, you are going down, my friends. You are not kind of staying idle at the same level. But then the question becomes, how can you change it? How can you fix it? Especially in today's economy right now, right? Because when we take a look at the world, everything is so different right now. We have, for example, new politics, a new president. We have different economic pressure, maybe interest rates. And then companies are also worried about this, right? Hence, it affects everything. It affects hiring processes. It affects, for example, AI. How do I use it? How do we use it, etc. And then, if we position ourselves the right way, okay, if we don't fall into the trap of what I call it the opinion paradox, right? We'll unpack that in just a moment. Oh, so and so told me on the internet I need 5 years of experience before even getting started in technology. How many of you have heard that before? Type in the chat, right? Oh, if you want to become a cybersecurity professional, you need to have CSSP, you need to have Security Plus, you need to have like penetration testing, maybe programming languages, understanding some skills, scripting. True or not true? We hear that all the time. But in today's session, if you stick around for the next 25 minutes, you will know and learn how to change it because we're going to talk about the secrets so that you can uncover all those nonsense and then see what is really available for you too, my friends. Okay, this is what A-level players do. Follow technical professionals in cybersecurity, in AI, in data, in software development, testing. It doesn't matter what this is, but this is the key. Okay. So that being said, let's dive in. By the way, just so you know, we are broadcasting this live like everywhere on Zoom, Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord community, please make sure that you do it, my friends. Okay. You can find the links on our website, but we are also broadcasting everything live on Instagram as well as Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. And that being said, let's dive in. The opinion paradox. What are we talking about here? If you have received the emails I sent earlier on Facebook or the email, if you are in our email list, many times, most of our limitations are self-imposed. You have understood that fact, right? And it all starts with believing someone else's opinion, isn't it? Because when we want to learn something new, let's say how to get into tech, how to grow my career, how to make six figures, multiple six figures, and then we read something, we read maybe an article, we read maybe we watch someone else's maybe like YouTube video just like this one, right? And unfortunately most of those content that you find elsewhere is extremely limited. Why? Because the problem is you are trying to learn and experience life, experience your career tech through someone else's filters, through someone else's, let's just say, different blinds or different colors. Think about this for a second. So let me just unpack that for a second. The psychology of limitations. And let me just do that with a story, okay? Before I made my own upgrade, so to speak, because I was working as a database admin many, many years back, like 2 decades back, I was an Oracle admin managing databases. And one of my friends using the same strategy, by the way, the transform strategy, we were in touch. And then he told me about an opportunity. Hey, we are looking for penetration testers in this amazing organization, government entity. Why don't you join? The first gut reaction was, hey, hold on a second. I'm not a penetration tester. I don't know how to do this. How can I become one? How can I join this, right? And then I learned my thinking was extremely limited, right? Because if that was true, then how can anyone start or change their careers? Think about that for a second. And that's exactly what I practiced. That's exactly what I learned. Why? Because as I was working as a database admin, after I made the move, guess what happened? I was focusing on database security as a penetration tester. Like most of my skills were transferable. But if I had believed and stayed there in my previous thinking, like limited belief, I would have always stayed there. And that is true in almost all the cases, my friends, everywhere. If you want to join the technology industry, if you want to become a cybersecurity analyst, penetration tester, maybe GRC specialist. By the way, cybersecurity is not just about GRC, it's not just about, oh, banking industry, PCI DSS. Unfortunately, I hear this all the time. Oh, it's just penetration testing. No, there are more than 200 different job titles. If you don't know which field is your field, then unfortunately this limitation will just stay there because you will have a very short-sighted vision. Okay, let's just put that aside and then focus on the journey, the psychology of limitations. There are a couple of key points to cover, a couple of key things I want to share with you. First of all, our minds, okay, need to explain everything it experiences. Okay, we need to. That's why it's called meaning-making machines. Like when I take a look at something, for example, this is Cyber Monday, by the way. This is the true Cyber Monday, not like the fake ones. People are trying to grab deals. This is the real one, right? What happens is we try to make meanings all the time because this is how our conscious brains work all the time. We see, for example, it's very popular these days. We see Trump, we see elections. We take a look at the unfortunate war right now, right? What's happening in Middle East. And then we try to come up with reasons. But how do we do that? We do that through our early programming, okay? Because our early programming years, okay, they shape our beliefs. When you were young, when you were a child, maybe you were vulnerable. And then when you want to do something great, let's say, hey, I want to become an astronaut. What happened then? Most likely, okay, if you're like most people, your parents, your society, your teachers are like, yeah, of course you can become one. True or not true? And then you kind of bury that deep in the ground. Over the years, and unfortunately, that's happened to me so many times. Even like well-meaning people, so and so, even some teachers, when I told them, hey, I want to do this, oh, come on, how can you do this, right? You are not this, you are not that, and all the limitations. Like, for example, I'm an immigrant myself, relocated to multiple different countries, right? Not originally coming from an IT background, weighted tables, clean toilets, all that. And I'm telling you this because we all go through similar limiting experiences, isn't it? Especially through our early childhood years. But unfortunately, the problem is we learn how to accept someone else's belief on top of our beliefs. We accept their belief, their truth, as our own truth. But that is the limiting part. Okay, that is the limiting part. And to change it, we first of all need to understand, why do we accept others' explanations as truth? And then we need to talk about the role of authority figures. Why? Authority figures could be for example, your family, your teachers, okay, your friends, your society, your upbringing, maybe even, politicians, maybe even what you see around the world right now, even the articles that you read online, even the YouTube videos that you watch online. Why? Because you don't know, you feel like you don't know, you try to accept someone else's opinion, explanation as truth, and unfortunately, most of them are limited, or most of them are trying to take advantage of someone else. That is the limiting point, right? So in this part, Matthew, I really want to hear your opinion as well, because like you see a lot of people and we know they can do this. We know they're ready to get the job. They're ready to crush it. But deep down, we deal with, hey, you know what? I want to get one more certification. I'm looking for OSCP. I'm looking for this, that. But what do you think about this? The psychology of limiting beliefs and those, opinions of someone else.
It's a great topic, and I wanted to share a bit of a personal story as well, from my own experience, although not cybersecurity, but also kind of transferable into a different industry. And so I was working in the corporate space several years ago, and working in that company for about 8 years or so. And sort of my direct manager was looking for ways to kind of get me to progress towards kind of the kind of directors and executives and that sort of space. And I wasn't really interested. I wanted to get out because I was really stressed and wasn't really enjoying it. And my get out was to sort of look into going to coaching. That was like what I was really passionate about. But
Mm.
my direct boss at the time was continuously saying, you don't have enough experience. You need to get more experience in the working world before you can start, become a coach. And you need, stay around for another 3-4 years, and then you can maybe see what happens from a coaching perspective. But I was very kind of intent. I was like, this is what I want. This is what really is what I want for my own life, my own career, and for my own livelihood. And so I made the transition, and I moved into coaching, and I sort of found my kind of the thing that I really enjoy doing. And recently I went back to visit that same organization. I have a lot of friends there, and a number of them commented, and they're like, it's so wonderful to see how happy you are, like doing what you love doing. And the space was just, I'm doing something that I love. This is where I want to go. This is where I want to be. I may not be the most experienced coach in the world. I don't have 20, 30, 40 years of corporate experience like many do, but there's a niche for the younger coaches. And there's a niche for people who are bringing something different from a different space, from a different kind of industry. And that's what I found. And so it really is about what is it that you want, and are you willing to kind of put in the hard work and get kind of be so narrow-minded and so narrow-focused that you kind of really just focus on helping yourself get there. And so I just wanted to share that little story.
I love it. I love it. And honestly, that's how we accomplish success, isn't it? If we can stop listening to others, even loud ones, even the people that we see as like the authority figures, then we break through. Then we kind of, cut through all that noise, all that kind of people are talking like, hey, you cannot do this. Who do you think you are? Take a look at yourself, etc., etc. And then we feel successful, and then we accomplish things. And we know how great of a coach you are, Matthew. And can you imagine that if you didn't step up your game, like you accepted someone else's belief? I'm looking at it that way. Like, for example, who's going to help the people out there right now if we don't step up? The same is true for companies right now. My friends, right now, let me tell you, especially if you already have certain skills in cybersecurity, if you accomplished something even basic, let's just say you watched through the videos of, say, Security Plus. You have fixed a couple of maybe labs, solved them on Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, maybe different labs. Right now, your skills at this level, okay, they are needed with tens of companies around the world. True. That's the reality. They need help. They need someone like you to take care of you. Okay. They need someone like you to take care of them. But then the typical reaction is psychology of limitations. Why? Because, hey, I'm not good enough yet. Let me just do this, do something else, etc., etc. And now we have completed the introduction, because maybe you are asking yourself, okay, man, how do we overcome those limiting beliefs? Okay. The psychology of limitations. There are really a couple of things. It really comes down to a number of things, as we have explained. And if we want to break it down, the number one explanation, the realization, is we need to understand the source of those beliefs. Where are they coming from? Let me just tell you this, my friends. Most self-explanations aren't really ours. Think about this. Why do you think, to get your first job, by the way, not like to become a chief information security officer, why do you think you need 2, 3, 4, 5 years of experience? Have you tested yourself? You probably read this online somewhere, watched a couple of videos, and then, okay, probably I need that. Let me just do it. Versus, hey, my background in, let's say, customer service, my background in teaching, my background in driving, driving for Uber. I know how to deal with difficult situations, difficult processes. I work hard. Of course, that's not enough. Then on top of that, you need to have the core skills as well. But that experience is typically something that you can translate and transfer to your ideal job, to a job, to a role that your background also supports, meaning your identity supports. That's why we highly recommend solving DISC values, 16 personalities, so that you understand your God-given talent in a way, your abilities, your soft skills, right? And then you can apply directly, because then together with that package, you can get not like maybe multiple six-figure role, but you can easily get, 70, 80, maybe 90K, 100K roles, because that's the economy right now. That is the truth. But if you do not believe in the truth, you need to first of all ask these questions. Why do you believe this? Who told you this? And why do you think they are any more accurate or more, let's say, powerful than you? Why do you think their opinions are more worthy than yours? You see? So, isolating yourself is key because they come from our friends, parents, colleagues, teachers. Make sure that you find a group of professionals, mentors, coaches who are here to help you, support you, and then copy paste their beliefs. But if you are in a circle, everyone is kind of like self-pity, oh my God, the world is coming to an end, take a look at what's happening. This is the time to consciously tell them no. Because if you don't draw the boundaries, you know what happens? You will stay there forever. No matter what happens, regardless of how many certifications you have, regardless of how many years of skills that you have, it is not going to work. Does that make sense? Because those beliefs, we accept them without questioning. This is the time to start questioning them. And number two, lack of initial discernment. And here's how they mean. We often receive these limitations when we cannot challenge them. Can you imagine that you were like 5, 6, 7, and then let's say you wanted to draw a nice picture, right? I mean, you were like, my daughter is just 8 right now. She sometimes just spends a lot of time on like drawing pictures and they're having fun. And I'm like, no, you need to study times tables. You need to do this, that, etc. And then what if that limitation automatically creates, even from coming from me, okay, as your father, think about this. Oh, painting, drawing pictures is not good. It's not useful. Let me just go back and then study math. Unfortunately, especially if you are coming from certain regions of the world. Okay. I'm telling this because look, I'm originally from Turkey, Middle East, right? But if you are originally from Asia, from Middle East, some parts of Africa, okay, Eastern Europe, most likely because of those cultural values, most likely you have those things. Why do you think, for example, a lot of immigrants are focused on computer science and then focusing on medical? My wife is a doctor. I know that. Why? Because when you are in a certain social circle, okay, environment, then we copy paste and accept their truth as our own truth. Why don't we become singers? Why don't we become lawyers? Why don't we become, for example, different things, right? So please have a think about that. And then let's move on. Typically, the reason why we are so limited is because we have no alternative views or opinions, right? They were not available. Think about this. Do you think your parents were available on AI? Back then, the information was golden. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll unpack that a lot more. But back then, like I remember back in 1997 or 8 would have been, I wanted to learn programming. Okay. I got my first computer. I was like 12, 13 years of age. And then the information was really hard to find. I needed to go to library. There were no internet. I had my computer, but it was not connected, etc. Can you think? Can you think about this? Because the information, the data was so limited, then just like my parents, I thought information is important. When I find it, let me just study. Right now, you don't have to memorize 80, 90% of the things that you work with. Why? Just like this, you can find the data online. Meaning that reality is no longer true. Does that make sense? Previously, information was valuable. How to, for example, study for certain things, programming, security, encryption, memorizing those things were important. But right now, that's not the case. Okay? Why? Because we are living in a very different world. That's it. And the number three, why do we have this? The power of new thoughts. Why? Because thoughts can change thoughts, but you need to spend some time on them. Because now we have some tools to deal with. Meaning, hey, my opinion right now about myself is more valid than others because I know myself. When I'm committed, I know I can do this regardless of what others are believing in me, regardless of what others are saying about me, regardless of what the society is telling. I know I can do something and I'm going to do whatever it takes, go do whatever it takes to make it happen. You see, that's a new thought. Hey, I now have access to all the content, all the libraries, all the labs, materials, etc. If I have the right strategy, if I have the right support, nothing can stop me. That's a new thought. We need to change and challenge the thoughts like this if we want to overcome those limiting beliefs, my friends. Because if we don't do it, it's for sure we're going to stay exactly where we are. Why? Because skills alone, and that's the dangerous part, most people unfortunately are not even aware of this. When you learn something new, a couple of things happen. If you are limited in your mind, if you believe when you get more skills, you will be more valuable, you know what happens when you get those new skills? Instead of feeling valuable, you will understand how little you know in the grand scheme of things. And then you go ahead and study even more. That's why it really breaks my heart. I see people, hey, I want to make a move towards cybersecurity. And I'm asking them, like, hey, what have you done? Well, I completed my CompTIA trifecta, A plus, Network plus, Security plus, and I signed up for these organizations. And I'm working on my CSSP right now. I'm like, this is the time for you to start helping companies, not study in your bedroom. But then, because the more that they study, it's kind of like drinking from the seawater. They get even thirstier. Why? Because they believe that every piece of new information, unfortunately, um, creates a negative impact on them, creates more limiting beliefs. But if the belief structure is like, hey, I can learn anything and everything when needed, if needed, because I'm committed to helping these organizations. I know my transferable skills. I know my background. This is my current level right now. I know I can scale this. I'm looking at the industry right now. Companies need help from anyone and everyone as long as they are committed. They are not looking for commodities. They are looking for value-driven professionals who really care about them. And that's me. Then happy days. Just like we have seen many, many times, companies hire, okay, our graduates, and then they train them. Why? Because they know they are there to help. Does it make sense, my friends? The power of new thoughts. But you need to ask the powerful questions like, why do I think others' opinions are better than me? Why do I think it's false? Why do I know that I can do whenever I'm committed, whenever I'm confident, whenever I can do this as well? Okay. And then back then, maybe you were living in limitations, but right now you don't have them. 10 years back, we didn't have AI. Right now we have. We'll talk about that in just a minute. 20 years back, we didn't have widely accessible internet. Right now we have, meaning the information is not available. It's available everywhere, meaning it's a commodity. It's not as powerful. Let me focus and give all my energy to really helping companies and really helping people. Matthew, any last thoughts about this part before we switch to the AI age solution, the power of new thoughts, or anything to share maybe?
Yeah, so one thought is coming to my mind now, and just a brief example that I can share is if you think about, so it's really about knowing yourself and knowing the value that you're going to bring and what is unique about the value that you're going to bring to whoever it is that you're bringing that value to. But to one sort of image or example comes to mind, and that is if you think about two companies that offer exactly the same service. For example, let's say a tech company. Both of those companies offer the exact same service. But one is a really massive company that has been around for a long time and they're incredibly successful. And the other one is a much, much smaller company. Maybe it's a home business, or maybe it's just like 10 people. But why is it that that home business is still doing well and still able to survive and still able to grow? That is because they know themselves really well and they understand what they bring. The smaller companies like you to focus on relationship building, customer service, providing something which maybe is not important to the other company, but something that they don't have to focus on as much because they are known to be a reputable brand. Whereas a smaller company is, let's go into the market, offer the same service, but not try and compete with this bigger company, but understand what we can bring, what we do specialize in, and then bring that to market and market ourselves that way. So I think that's kind of the most important thing in terms of knowing yourself and knowing what you can bring to the market.
I love it, 100%. And we see that all the time, isn't it? But we don't recognize it because we don't pay attention. It's kind of like when we go to, let's just grocery, let's just, we want to buy bread, milk, butter, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? We go there and then we see they sell commodity, they sell more or less the same thing. But some of those companies are like worth multi-billion. Others are just trying to make it. What's the difference? Clearly not the product. I see a lot of times, even like the cheaper or not, very now widely known brands are way better in the product, but they focus on other things. And that's exactly what you can do, my friends. If you want to grow your career in tech, in cyber, just pay attention to more than anything, marketing and sales of what you know, rather than trying to make a better product. Because if no one, had zero idea, like no opinion about Tesla, no one will be driving Tesla. But we know, we hear, right? Over time, it just gets easier. Have an honest conversation right now with yourself. Take a look at your LinkedIn profile. Take a look at your network. Take a look at who you are surrounded with. Are you in a mentorship group? Are you getting the help and the support that you need? Are you having productive conversations or not? Because if the answers are not like, in favor, then most likely you will stay there regardless of how hard you work. That's the unfortunate part. Does it make sense, my friends? Type in the chat. Yes. And then we move on. Okay. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, let's also talk about this AI edge solution. It's kind of like a revolution. Right now, this is like the first week of December. When we take a look at how the world has changed in 2024, can you even imagine? Maybe you are not using AI. Maybe you are not using to the fullest, right? But here's the thing. Here's the bottom line. Technical skills alone aren't enough anymore. According to different investments, so by the way, as they say, follow the money. Okay. We are also following edtech industry, AI, and the investments where they're flowing. They're expecting of $1 trillion market in the next 10 years, and they're expecting 300 million people will do things differently in the technology world, hell, in the business world. Why? Because forget about everything that you have learned. In the future, you will do things differently. You won't need to memorize stuff, but you will need to learn how to think. And let me just support you with that, okay? The shift from production, because back then, together with the information, production was very important because to create something new. I mean, think about this. Right now, I'm in my office, right? My current setup is like less than 10 grand, right? $10,000. But I'm broadcasting live, 4K. I have my cameras. I have my teleprompter. 10 years back, it was only available in professional TV studios. You see, production is becoming easier and easier. I mean, even better. I can just take my phone, record it, publish it online, and then everyone can listen to me. Right now, take a look at this. 4 or 5 different channels were broadcasting this live. That means the shift right now we experience is from production, like what you know, what we know, to consumption, how you solve problems, because that is where the real value. Meaning, if you are not helping companies consume your content, consume your marketing message, they don't know you, it's kind of like, who cares, right? You just study, learn, and then they don't even know you. So with the AI age, even further, instead of that production, because production is automated, you can create a lot of stuff with AI just like this. Consumption will be a lot more powerful. You need to market yourself. It's even more important than your technical abilities because you can learn those technical abilities in a very short amount of time. But that marketing and sales, this is how you communicate your message. Let me just tell you a practical example. How to identify your unique value proposition specifically, because in this noisy world, because the more that we see in the production, the more video content do you know how many hours or even days or weeks worth of content is being uploaded right now? They are being uploaded to YouTube right now every minute. The content is like it's like meaningless. Why? Because there's a lot of content. But if you can get your content to consumption, then you can immediately start solving those companies' problems. Because of that, how does that relate? How does that translate to your career journey, my friends? To your tech, maybe entrepreneurship journey, your skills development, upskilling journey? Just take a look at your marketing materials, your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letters. Are you talking to the point to only a specific set of individuals and companies, and they can easily understand what you're up to, like what you want to do? Or, hey, I have my A plus, Network plus, Secret plus, I have all these certifications, and then if you give me a job, I will see what I can do. That's why people are not getting hired. That's why people are not growing their careers. You need to communicate with those problem-solving abilities and position yourself as the solution provider, not just a skill holder. You can use AI tools to amplify your message, but if it's not focused, if you don't have the tunnel vision, then it's not going to work. Why? Because again, it's a very noisy world right now. People receive lots of marketing messages left and right every day. Oh, I sent someone an email, I sent someone a LinkedIn message, but they didn't get back to me. Probably they don't want to work with me. Probably I'm not worthy. This is how most people think, isn't it? Think about that. They send a message and then that's it. Easy apply on LinkedIn. You know that, right? You can easy apply. And then you see 300 people are also applying for jobs. But when was the last time that you picked up the phone and then tried to find the individual, the decision maker, and then delivered your pitch in less than 30 seconds so that you'll have a chance? Does it make sense? So Matthew, anything to add on this part in terms of how can tech professionals, cybersecurity professional, people who want to join this career can create that to the point message that people can easily pick up?
So something that's coming to my mind, if you a lot of job descriptions, if you're looking for a job and you see job adverts on LinkedIn or whatever, you'll see they have like a paragraph or two before they actually go into the actual job, describing the company or going into a bit of detail about the problem that the company is trying to solve, whatever the case may be. So instead of just going straight to the job and looking at, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do that? Okay, I tick all the boxes. Look at what they're actually telling you about the company. Look at what they're telling you in those couple of paragraphs in terms of the problem they're solving or what the company's about, and bring that into your message, into your job application, and show them that it's not, I can do all of these things that you're looking for, but actually I'm committed to helping you solve this particular problem or helping you grow this part of your company because I really like what you stand for or who you are as a business. And that's what will get you ahead of the queue. Is they want someone who's not just competent, but also passionate and committed to making a difference in their organization and wanting to grow with them as a result. So I think that's sort of one little trick I thought of that could be helpful in this situation.
I love it. Such a great tip. Practical tip. That's all we're about, right? Because right now the world is like, again, full of theory, full of noise, full of like, oh, let's just walk you through all the theories. And literally, because I'm so interested in cybersecurity, AI, all the technological advancement, recently I reviewed I'm not going to tell which organization, by the way. I reviewed their AI related certification exam. It was all BS. Why? Because they were asking quotes from the founders of like machine learning. Like, who cares? Who cares, man? Please show me, tell me, right? Specifically, show me practically, how can I use AI to help a company, help grow my career, specifically design my marketing materials? But people, it seems like, because most people are living like that, most people live in the theory, they don't understand the value and they don't understand the problems of what people are going through right now, the companies are going through right now. Action steps are key, just like Matthew highlighted. So, a couple of action items to wrap up the session so that you can get the most benefit out of this. Number one, regarding your limited beliefs, write down, identify right after the session, because if you don't do it, it's not going to work. Write down 3 limiting beliefs you have accepted from others, okay? That you know you have accepted from others, okay? Scarcity mindset. Oh, for example, money is hard to earn. They're printing that. Even like after Nixon's presidency, it's not even the gold standard right now. They're printing it. Why do you think it's hard to earn it? Okay. Oh, if you want to have a good job, that means you need to stay away from your family. Why? Because maybe that was your upbringing. Whatever that is, identify 3 limiting beliefs and then create your own opposing opinion for each. For example, it is hard for others, but not for me because I'm focusing on the outcomes. I'm focusing on the results. I have the tools. I have the network. I have my support system. I have the right set of skills. I'm focusing on not all the cybersecurity jobs, but I'm only focusing on certain sectors and industries. This way, it's a lot easier for me. Does it make sense? Limiting beliefs, your opinion. Limiting beliefs, your opinion. And then another action item. Identify one specific problem you can solve for employers. And when it comes to this, don't be like, oh my God, I need to know everything to be able to solve problems. No. Are you hungry for this? Are you really interested in the company or the organization? Do you have at least the core set of skills? Let's say they have a problem on cloud systems, let's say Azure. But if you don't even have an Azure account on Microsoft, if you have not maybe spent like 10, 20 hours that you can easily do in less than 2 weeks, by the way, then of course it doesn't make sense for them to hire you. But if you approach them, hey, this is what I know. My background is here. I have a lot of transferable skills and I'm willing to help you. Let's talk about you. Because people are, at the end of the day, hiring managers hire people, not companies. I see people, oh, Amazon hired me. No, Amazon did not hire you. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, has Jeff Bezos hired you? No. There are like thousands of managers within Amazon. One of them liked you, one of them hired you. That's it. So please understand that fact as well. And finally, draft a value statement that focuses on solutions, not just skills. I solve this problem, I solve that problem. If you want proof, go to Apple, go to Microsoft, take a look at their websites. What do they share? Do you think they talk about the megapixels or the hard drives? Or, hey, here's what you can do with our Apple products. You can be different. Again, you see how powerful this is? You can create amazing stuff with this machine. You see? They're not even talking about laptops, by the way. That's why they're like the most valuable company. Apart from NVIDIA, that's a different thing right now, GPU, ChatGPT, et cetera, et cetera. I know that. But you see, focus on those value statements that will get you ahead. And then finally, it's important to get help and support so that someone else can save you a lot of time. Hey, here are my limited beliefs I've identified. Here's my solution. Here's my solution statement. Am I on the right path or not? About me, please review my background. Please review my personality. You see, that's very important. Find a coach, find a mentor. Hey, just join our Discord channel. I mean, I see a lot of our Cyber Transform members already joined here. Join the sessions. Raise your hand. If you're new here, just, get in touch with us and then let's discuss how we can help you and support you. My friends, these are the key steps. So you not only overcome those limiting beliefs, but also tap into that AI age. And instead of just creating content, you can make sure that they are also consumed. Okay? So to wrap up, the question isn't whether you can do it. It's why you believed someone else who said you couldn't, especially about your limiting beliefs. Why you believed them. Because in the AI age, everyone can learn those technical skills. It's not that hard. But the real difference is in how you communicate your value, those marketing, those sales messages. Why? Because your opinion about your capability is more valid than any other recruiters out there, hiring managers out there. You know yourself way better than them, way better than they ever could. And remember, your limitations are self-imposed, my friends, okay? Because you believed someone else's opinion. That's it. Careers, job experiences, et cetera, et cetera. But especially in our today's AI-driven world, you have the power to not only change those limiting beliefs, but also to communicate your value in ways that makes others' opinions irrelevant. In fact, in any decision-making interview, let's say, I told you this a couple of times to wrap up, but there's a really final statement here. In any communication, there is a clash of beliefs. You show up to, let's say you call someone, a recruiter, having a chat with you, or maybe like an interview. It's a clash of beliefs. If you believe you can do it, if you believe you want to help, if you believe you have the transferable skills, you kind of embody, you kind of overlap, and then you kind of surround their beliefs, and then they suck right into it. And then they will, I don't know what, but this person is amazing. I don't want to work. I mean, on paper, I'm not sure, but I feel different with this person, and then you will get the job. But if they believe, and you have those limited beliefs, like, oh, this job is hard, I cannot do this, I'm not good enough, etc., etc., and then of course they will tell you, hey, you are not ready. More onto that later, maybe even follow-up conversation, Matthew, next week. But please have a think about that. Try to identify where those limited beliefs come from, so that you can start changing them, my friends. Does that make sense? Great to see so many names and similar faces, by the way. I love it. Many thanks for joining. Hey, if you have any questions, if you need more help and support, okay, make sure to join our Discord channel. If you haven't done so already, go to cybertransform.com, connect me on LinkedIn, send us a message on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, okay, drop us a note so that we can help you and support you, my friends. And that being said, many thanks. Matthew, any last words to wrap up?
I think you've covered most of it. I think the most important thing I would say is just if you don't know it already, think about what your value proposition, value statement is, so that you can take that wherever you go. And people ask you, what do you do? You're not cybersecurity specialist, but you do this, and this is what you specialize in, and this is your first.
Yeah,
So
it's me,
take it
right?
wherever you go, not just your LinkedIn profile.
I love it. I love
And I
it.
think that's the
I
big
love
thing.
it. I love it. My friends, many thanks for joining live today. I will see you in our next Cyber Monday session. Have a great week ahead. And for our Cyber Transform members, we will see you tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday as well in our live group coaching sessions. And we go from there. Have a fantastic day and week ahead, my friends. Bye for now.